Hurricane Iota has strengthened into a powerful Category 5 storm. It is expected to make landfall in Central America in just a few hours. Forecasters say Iota is the most powerful hurricane of the 2020 season and the strongest ever recorded in November. Officials fear the record 30th named storm of this year's Atlantic hurricane season could cause catastrophic damage. The storm is approaching the same part of Central America battered by Hurricane Eta just over a week ago, killing at least 120 people in the region. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News meteorologist and climate specialist Jeff Berardelli. Boy, Jeff, the number of times I'm speaking to you about a new hurricane, I know it's setting records, but it's certainly setting records for this show. We're approaching the end of this hurricane season. How unusual is it to see a Category 5 storm in the Atlantic this late in the season?
Well, there is no precedent. In the 170 years or so of record keeping, we've never seen a Category 5 this late in the season. Winds 160 miles an hour. And the crazy thing, as you mentioned, it's going to hit almost the exact same spot that Eta hit just 13 days ago. So this is quite an amazing storm. That's the forecast track right there. But what I want to show you is the satellite, and you'll see how just classic the shape of this storm is. That's the storm. This is kind of a wide view. There's Miami, Havana, Cuba. And you can see just how circular this system is. And look at the eye. It's almost a perfect circle. When you have a system that is formed in such a perfect way, it's about as strong as it can get. So this is a Cat 5. And again, it's going to be making landfall almost exactly where Eta made landfall. So just to give you an idea of how many records we have broken, Iota is the strongest storm, and you mentioned it, of the 2020 season. It's the strongest we've ever seen in the month of November. It rapidly intensified. It is the 10th system this year to do so. That is a tie. And what's most amazing is, 6 of the 7 last storms, so the fall storms, the autumn storms in October, November, have all rapidly intensified. They're all Greek systems. We almost never see Greek systems to begin with. So this year has been unprecedented in so many ways. And you mentioned it's the 30th named storm. Well, would you believe we could see the 31st named storm later this week, almost in the exact same place in the Caribbean? By the way, the average is 12. We should only see 12 named storms a whole season. We've seen 30, and we're going to see probably 31 by the end of the week. All right, so let's show you the track of this system. So you can clearly see it's going to be making its way west. Puerto Cabezas is where it's likely to make landfall, and that is exactly where Eta made landfall. And it likely will have winds around 165 miles an hour as it begins to move onshore as we head through the evening hours. So this is a formidable system.
And so this is happening as we speak, right? I mean, this evening is going to see the worst of it when it hits landfall.
Yeah, so here's landfall. There we are at midnight tonight, so it makes landfall at around 9 o'clock or so. Anywhere you see the white shading, those are wind gusts over 100 miles an hour. Anywhere you see the blue shading, and we saw some of that as it was making its way onshore, those are wind gusts over 150 miles an hour. Look at the track of Eta, and look where Iota is coming on shore. It's maybe, it could be a few miles, it could be 10, 20 miles away, but it's hitting almost the exact same town, a population of about 66,000 people or so. And the waves in the purple, those are 30, 35-foot waves that'll be slamming on shore. And so we're expecting a storm surge of 15 to 20 feet with this storm. That is a deadly storm surge. Anyone caught near shore, it's going to be extremely dangerous. And then, of course, it's going to produce a lot of life-threatening flooding and landslides. We saw that with Eta. Many lives were lost. We're likely to see that again because the water hits the hills, it runs off into the valleys, and it causes tremendous amounts of flooding. And we're likely to see that as we head through the next couple of days in Central America.
Oh, you can't help but really just feel so, strongly for those poor people in the path of the storm. Once again, another storm. And Jeff, as we've been talking about, this season has been breaking records. Clearly, there's got to be a link to, the warming ocean temperatures and further climate change, correct?
So there is, but you can have all the climate change in the world, and you can have the warmest Atlantic you can possibly have. And if all the other factors don't line up, you're not going to see storms reach their potential. This year, everything is coming together. All the natural factors, and then on top of that, obviously, human-caused climate change. The whole Atlantic Ocean's above normal. So let's go over it right now. We've had an active African monsoon. That means you get more seedlings or more storms emerging off Africa to form into tropical systems. The entire Atlantic Ocean, I do mean the entire Atlantic Ocean, has been above normal. A big part of that is human-caused climate change. We're trapping more heat with carbon pollution in the atmosphere. And also La Nina formed in September. And so for the past 2 months, we're ending the season with a La Nina, which is associated with active Atlantic hurricane seasons. So we're seeing that happen the second half of the season. And by the way, so here's a look at the Atlantic Basin right here and just how active it has been. I mean, you know, you can barely find a spot that doesn't have a storm so far in 2020.
All right. Well, Jeff Berardelli, thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.